I didn't have a smooth relationship with my mom when I was a child. And my dad was my hero, was my everything. I practically used to walk like my dad. I usually believe like I can do the impossible. My mom and I, we didn't have a smooth relationship, and I was a bit worried, but I wasn't really worried because my dad always bridged the gap. So when I was 13, I asked my dad why he wanted to take a certain decision, and everybody else in the family were like, oh no, why is it that you always question everything? Like, in short, I basically lost my relationship with my dad because I questioned that decision. And that began my journey of searching for love. Now, at a point, my mom explained why she didn't have a bond with me. That when I was in the womb, the scan showed that I was a male child. Now, I was her first child. She got married as a virgin. And she had told God that, oh, if you can keep me as a virgin, my first, just like, you know, I don't want to say religious people. Anybody can just say, oh, I'm covenanting my first child, you know, to serve God and all of that, right? And so that was the point. Now, I didn't come after 9 months. I came after 11 months. And to now make matters worse, I now came a girl. So according to her, all the clothes she had bought was a male child. She was expecting a male child. And strangely, this child is not a boy. So she told me that I didn't suck breast for up to a week, which kind of feels logical because, I mean, there's a disconnect between your expectation and reality. So now, because I'm into mental health, I can explain that. So perhaps she transferred that into a form of rejection. So, you know, the further that when I hear the honk of my daddy's car, I'm very excited. Then it became, when I hear the honk of his car, I'm like, okay, what have I done today? What is he going to beat me for today? You know, and you see, abuse erodes a child's self-esteem. When you consistently abuse people, whether it's even a child or it's even your partner, the point is their self-esteem begins to dwindle. They begin to question themselves to say, oh, am I even enough? Are you really sure I deserve to be loved? Am I really sure that there's a seed of greatness in me? And all of that. We all knew that my dad was a loving father and husband. But suddenly this decision just made him to become something else. And I saw my dad verbally abusing my mom, you know, to the point that he made a statement one particular day that I will never forget. And I wrote it in my Lemonade book, my book, From Lemon to Lemonade, How to Use Your Pain to Unleash Your Greatness. I think the greatest form of abuse is verbal abuse because we are programmed by words. And so this particular day, he said a statement to her and he said, you don't have any glory. Now, he said it in vernacular, in my native dialect. And he said to her, he said, you don't have any glory. It is my glory that is making you feel like you have a glory. And I made a decision that very day that I was never going to get married. That a man would never tell me that I don't have a glory. Because, I mean, I had always believed I am worth something great and amazing. I'm a problem solver. I'm an asset to this world. I'm a gift to this world. And so a man is telling his wife that you don't have any glory, that you are only shining because you are under me. And unconsciously, to be honest, whatever caused their issue, I don't know till now. I never asked them. But the point is that registered in my mind. And when I talk about narcissist and road rage, I saw my dad always driving, and you know that road rage is common with all narcissistic people with narcissistic personality disorder. And so we're suddenly driving. The next thing, you don't even know how they started the fight. So, but what you just see is that he's suddenly swerving and all of that. So that was what I was familiar with. And I had taken a decision. I was never going to get married. I met a guy that didn't know my story. He didn't know my history. He didn't know where I was coming from. But consistently, he always told me, Greatness, I see you like Joyce Meyer. You're going to be speaking. You're going to be writing. You're going to be traveling. You're going to be a mentor and channel of inspiration. I'll be like, maybe God will show you your wife. That's not me. No. You know, what this guy did for me, I'm telling you, right? This guy was like my personal groomer. And that's why I say to you today that I cannot marry someone less than that. That's the truth. Because this guy practically groomed me from the me that I believed this was the best of me to the evolved me. It was in the period of that time I got clarity of purpose to say, oh, I think I'm made for more. It was that time I got clarity and I got the vision for my life to say, I am actually called to raise men and ladies of global and internal influence. My first sexual assault was by a pastor. And it was, and I don't blame him. And I'll tell you why. I don't blame perpetrators of abuse, because abuse only happens when the victim enables it. So it takes two parties for abuse to happen. I mean, I've been working in the mental health space for over 8 years, and I'm telling you this such that I'm not justifying the abuser, but I'm saying the victims have to be aware that you are actually as powerful as the abuser. You actually enabled it for it to happen. And so now remember that it was a pastor that influenced my daddy's decision that soured our relationship. Now, my first sexual abuse, also a pastor. So I became an atheist, and I just said, you know what, there is no God. So meeting this guy, so you can understand the role this guy played in my life, right? So now when this guy was now saying, oh, there's nowhere to sleep, come to my room, I just automatically just, it's because you want to rape me. That's why you want me to be living in your room. And he said, no. And I can tell you that I stayed with this guy for not less than 6 months. This guy did not kiss me. He did not do anything to me. He did not touch me. He has my respect till tomorrow. Rather, he made me evolve. We just flowed into our strengths, and we just blended to, this is your strength, this is my weakness, harmony. And I will fill in the gap for you. Time reveals things. So they usually start with they are always very charming at the beginning, but then as you give it, they reveal who they are. They start disempowering you. They basically want you to just make you feel that, oh, no. There's really nothing much to you than this. And so those are just the signs that I can tell you. When I met the man, I almost got married and I canceled my wedding 7 days to the event. It was what I was used to. Do you understand? The road rage, the gas goes, the rules and regulation, which is what my dad used to give me to say, oh, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And you know, each time I look back now and I remember one of the rules and regulation he gave me was I must always call him my Lord or my King. I stopped counting the rules and regulation when it became 2022. Yeah. And I told him one day, I said, you know, the rules and regulation you gave me, this is the 22nd rule. He said, keep counting because it will keep increasing. I said, okay, at this rate, let me just stop counting. You know, so one of the rules and regulation was that I cannot if we're together, like, and UNB walks up to me to say, hi, Greatness, I cannot say, hi, MB, meet my fiancé, I'm in trouble. I remember when I was desperate to get married in that year, 2019. It was because my mom had told me I got married before this particular age, and I was going to be that age that year. So I thought myself, I renewed my rent half year, and my landlady said, you're always paying full rent. What happened? I said, because I'm going to be married by June. And she said, are you in a relationship? Do you have a friend? I said, no. They said, you don't have a friend and you're going to be married by June. How? I said, don't worry. And the law of attraction is powerful. You will just attract what you believe. Yes, before I met him at all. I set the deadline. I even sought the clothes I was going to wear the day I will meet the guy. And guess what? That was the clothes I was wearing the day I met this guy. I'm telling you. Yes. So it all felt like, hey, this can only be God. But you have to take time to check it. Now, the first 3 weeks, MB, I will not lie to you, the first 3 weeks, people were using me as prayer points. Like, the God that did Greatness own, come and do my home. This guy is made. This guy is, like, he has everything. I told you, the first stage of every abusive relationship is love bombing. They will love bomb you. You will practically tell yourself, nobody else can love me like this. But remember what I said, time reveals. Time reveals. So you could not, and the thing is, they cannot sustain. Let me tell you one of the red flags in a relationship. When someone tells you, let's get married in 1 month, in 2 months, sharp, sharp, sharp. See, that's the sign. Oh, they are the one. Just say, once they tell you that, just say, not them. They don't come. So they will always want to get married to you swiftly, such that you will not see who they really are before the love bombing stage is over. And to make matters worse, our pastors, this guy was he was a pastor. Aside from being a medical doctor, he's also a pastor. So our pastors basically knew him. Like, he's been a pastor for 17 years. He's been in the church. He started the healthcare unit in the church. I was going then, and they were telling me, Greatness, I can tell you that this man has a good character. But what you don't know is that the person in church is not the person at home. So each time the abuse was going on in the relationship, I kept on feeling like I was the problem, like, because everybody, now remember that initially, everybody used to tell me I was the problem. So I was used to people saying that I am the problem. So I felt like, okay, maybe it's still my past coming against me. And being in a relationship with a narcissist is very traumatic. You will consistently doubt yourself. So many times you will be seeing somebody in your front, and maybe you actually be telling yourself, maybe it's part of what they said is wrong with me. Maybe the person is not right. I'm telling you, I became a shadow of myself. When Damascus was telling you about social anxiety, I could relate. When I canceled my wedding 7 days to the event, if a stranger comes that you're approaching me, I'll practically feel that you have been sent from that guy to hurt me. I will be shaking. It was that bad. My greatest strength was my intuition, but I started questioning my intuition to say, I thought I heard God. I thought I was right about this guy. I was 29. I never said yes to a guy. Why was my first time of saying yes to a guy a narcissist? Why? So basically, oh goodness, it was draining. Another sign, if you want to identify narcissists, when you're sad, they are happy. When you're happy, they are sad. That one is the easiest way. They are like that. And he said, if we are going to do data counseling, we have to go to the registry. And my coconut head again, I agreed. I said, it's registry. Let's go now. And so we went to the registry on the 27th of April. And after the registry, you know, it was like, oh, finally, so I have you, blah, 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 blah. So we called our counselor. We were to meet our counselor on the 1st of, yes, we're legally married. My international passport right now is still carrying his name. 1st of May was our meeting with the counselor. I fasted my life. You know when I say fast?
Yes.
The point is, being in an abusive relationship, I don't even have appetite. So I started translating everything to fasting, to say, God, you see that counseling session, just use it to give me clarity. I want to know if I am the problem. If I'm the problem, I can fix me and you. Is to pay for therapy. Is to surrender to you. It is just to submit to this man. I promise you. And we got to the counseling session, and the woman was just asking this guy basic questions. So from the responses he was given, the counselor said, and I detailed all of the questions and the responses in my book. From that session, I just knew that, I just did like this. I was like, my village people finally got me. And I just felt, finally, they've gotten my enemy, no problem. What can I do? But guess what?
So
the woman said, you need to postpone your wedding by 12 weeks, such that you finish your 12 weeks of counseling before I would approve that both of you can be married. He said, I knew that was what was going to happen. That was why I told her that we must go to the registry before coming for this counseling. He said, so ma, we are married. There's nothing you can do about it. So that was when I understood. I connected it. I was like, they're putting me in streets. It's not good not to be on the street.
You don't enter.
It's not good to be naive. And the woman said, have you had sex? I said, God forbid. Then she said, you have been quiet all the while. This is the first statement. This is the first statement you're making in this conversation. What do you mean by God forbid? I said, I don't find him attractive. And he knows that. And she said, wait, you want to marry a man you don't find attractive? I said, they told me that attraction will grow. She just said, wait a minute, what's going on here? Please, 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 please. If you have not had sex with him, then the marriage can be rendered null and void. I just stood up. I felt empowered for the first time. And honestly, I was like, Ma, are you serious? He said, yes, it can be rendered null and void. You will not be a divorcee. You will be single. I said, Jesus, God, I feel loved. God, so you love me like this. Then it's, for the first time, I'm the one that is always begging in this relationship. I'm the one that is always wrong. I'm the one. Oh, Jesus. There was one particular day I forgot one of my rules and regulations that I said I should never introduce him to people. Out of, people that have said I don't want to be submissive to a man. You know, this pastor just met me and said, oh, Greatness, how are you? And I just rushed and said, oh, this is my fiancé, so that the person will know that I want to submit to a man. Do you understand? And oh, really? You're getting married? Do you know, as we were leaving the church that day, this guy beats me into the gutter. And he did not start by beating me to say, oh, you did this. He just beat. I was counting stars. And I was like, did somebody push me into the gutter? Did I fall? He said, I've told you never to introduce me to someone again. I was like, oh, so you are the one that beat me into the gutter? I said, yes. And if you do that again, I will deal with you. You need to submit to me. I'm your husband. I said, I'm sorry. I'm very, very, very sorry. So imagine the switch. This time around, this guy now went on his knees. Sweetheart, please don't do this to me. Don't leave me. The woman said, no. This wedding is not holding on the 11th, except you disobey me, because I know you ladies, you are so much in love. When you are in love, you don't listen to counsel. In fact, by the time you get home now, they will rub your back and all of that. And that's why some of you don't get objective professional counseling. Immediately, this guy called my dad. And of course, my dad said, you know, nobody can love you like your father. And I didn't know that I was seeking my dad's approval before then. And I believed my dad, but I should have known that all this while, my dad had never loved me unconditionally. I mean, he stopped loving me unconditionally. And I just gullibly just went to meet my dad. And 2nd of May, they bundled me to Ikoyi immigration, did my passport that very day. We are traveling out on the 14th of May. And yes. And I was left with, okay.
Right after the wedding.
So now I have a passport in this guy's name. I have everything. What else? But you know, each time I think about getting married to this guy, the fear that rushes to my heart, the fear of I'm going to die. Okay, so I said, you know what? Maybe I should poison him after the wedding. Or maybe I should poison myself. Or maybe I should commit suicide. I hid everything I was going through in the relationship from him, despite the fact I was supposed to be the father of the day and the chairman of my wedding. So I said on the 3rd of May that, Daddy, I need to see you. It's concerning my wedding. I'm worried. He said, really? Come to my office. So I said, he told me never to tell anybody what's going on in the relation. He said, but that's a red flag. Everybody knows that. Like, if somebody is trying to isolate you and cut you off and say, oh, no, don't tell anybody about me. Don't put my picture out there. Don't put my name out there. That's obviously a red. You should have known. Daddy, I did not know. And he said to me, Greatness, cancel the wedding. Finally, he said, in case you want to change your mind, let me remind you, if God sent Jesus to die for your sin, will you give you this kind of husband? You know, when he asked me that, I just shift back. I like this. I said, no. I'm going to see women, men. Desperation can be smelled. It can be perceived. And you think you don't know see, your desperation in a who's like this. So I just sent a message to my parents. I sent it on the WhatsApp group page because I'm sorry. I know someone hearing might say, oh, is it that you don't respect your parents? Because I had explained to them after meeting the counselor, but they said that God told them that he has anger issues, but he will change. And I'm like, I need to see the change before. So it's like, you're trying to tell me to use my life as a specimen. I studied microbiology. A lot of specimens in the laboratory don't survive. Some of them die. So if I should leave myself as a specimen and I die, what will happen? I said, no. They are general overseers of their church. Their first child is getting married. So, I mean, the start Exactly. So it's complicated. I understand how they feel. But I am not an emotional person. I am extremely I am see, you know, the point is I'm very emotional. However, when I take my decision, I'm not emotional about my decision. You cannot talk me out of my decision because I try to make informed decision. Am I saying I've always taken the right decision? Obviously, no. That experience humbled me. Because before then, oh Jesus, I usually boast of the fact that I take informed decision all the time. But for the first time, I was humbled by God to say, Greatness, you are not always right. You can make mistakes. It was I cannot describe the experience. So
how did you
let me tell you something I usually say. It is not the water outside of the ship that sinks the ship. It is the water that the ship allows to come into it that sinks the ship. It is the pressure you take in that sinks you. I didn't see any pressure. I'm sorry. Yeah, people were no. I did not. People were sending all kinds of messages. Oh, goodness, let's talk about it, you know. And this is the devil sometimes. Yeah, cold feet. They told me all kinds of things. What I just had to do was to just change my number. If the pressure is too much for you, cut them off. It is your life. At the end of the day, it is your life. If you die before your time, trust me, everybody have forgotten about Osinachi today. That day she died. Do you know how many people called me and say, oh, Greatness, it is not that I know why you took that decision. I'm proud of you. After they've called me names, she doesn't want to submit to a man. She's very strong-willed. She's this, she's that. That's why she canceled her wedding. Keep judging me, but I don't care. When Chude interviewed me, or is it true that people call it, you know how many comments on my videos? People were calling me all kinds of names. She's that. Some people said I was lying.
You were on with,
and I would tell them, I just said, yes.
Really?
Yes.
So this,
yes. I thought anybody that said I'm lying, I just said, thank you for identifying that I'm lying. I pray the same thing happens to you, and then you will confirm if I was lying or not.
The funny part, you know, that means that this is not a common decision to make. It means that for people to think that you were lying, it means that
I get
it seems almost impossible.
I see. Yeah, I mean, I understand where some are coming from, but the people that have experienced such thing know that is real. I mean, at a point in the relationship, big names got involved. Larry Olushola knew about the whole thing now. He can tell you the day on the 4th of May, the midnight of the 4th of May into I can never forget 1:16 a.m. I can tell you. I sent the message out to all WhatsApp group pages because I'm quite influential, right? A lot of people have bought my Ashwebi. A lot of people have planned. They had even done bridal shower for me a month before my wedding. I'm telling you, like, I am blessed with the gift of people. And so I had to openly just tell people, I'm sorry, I'm postponing this wedding indefinitely. Do not come to me. And the point is, you have to set boundaries. If you don't want people to put unnecessary pressure on you, set boundaries, be affirmative about it, be firm about it. Don't be like this about your boundary. I teach refusal skill. Refusal skill, there are different ways by which you say no, that people know when you mean it and you don't mean it. So say no and be very, very affirmative about it. I sent out the message to all the WhatsApp group. The first person to send me a private message was Larry Olushola, that maybe you know as the catalyst. And he said, Greatness, I am proud of you. I always knew you were going to take the right decision. You don't want to know. You don't even want to know. I feel like slapping that man. I will not lie to you, but let's leave that conversation for another day. Yes, so I feel like I don't understand. This man, before I went to the registry, I called you. And that's why, let me tell you something, guys. Let me tell you something. When I told you that the counselor that I went is an objective and professional counselor, it meant someone that did not know my past, someone that was not judging me based on my past. Because Larry Lushola told me with his own mouth that I am projecting my dad on this guy. That is not my dad. Yes. Yes. So when he said that, I felt that this is, you are conflicting your words. Because I asked you before I went to the registry with this guy. I told you, I said, tell me what you will tell your daughter. Don't tell me what you will tell your client. So it was the book that made me to self-introspect, to say, Greatness, how did you get here? How did you say yes to this man? He's not to be blamed. You are to be blamed. Take responsibility for your life. And so I wrote my book. It was therapeutic writing my book, but I never knew I was going to become an author. I never knew I was going to be on Channels TV. I never knew I was going to be on TVC. I never knew all of this was going to happen. But like I said, like the theme of this program, I overcame, right? I said the point is that you are actually, you see, you're asking that question because you have believed that fulfillment comes from the marital status. I do not associate my marital status to my fulfillment. See, I am so fulfilled that if you count 10 singles and you cannot count one of them that is as fulfilled as I am, I'm living my dream. I'm converting I'm unleashing my greatness. I'm using my pain to unleash my greatness. I am excited helping people to unleash their greatness. When I do programs to help singles come together, I want to help them take informed decision. I want to help them not to say no to the right person, like I found love and I rejected it.